Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Hey everyone, thank you all for tuning into Biz Mind Kids, the quarantine edition. My name is Nikki Watson, and I just want to let you know that our future is so bright. Why? You're about to see young scholars pour their heart out, want to know what does it take to be successful. They'll be interviewing today's business leaders to learn how to be tomorrow's business leaders. They will break down those communication barriers between different generations. Check them out. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Business Mind Kids, where we train the kings and queens of the future. Today, you will hear from some young scholars interviewing today's business leaders to figure out how to be tomorrow's business leader. Today, they will interview Mr. Rodney Bullard with the Chick Fil A Foundation. Go ahead, Brooke. It's on you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Can't wait to eat more chicken. My first thing is I noticed that you were talking about how you help like kids, like I guess troubled teens. Would you say troubled teens?
Not necessarily troubled. I mean, some of them may be troubled, but most of the kids that we help probably are just like you. And our goal is to help as many kids as possible, regardless of their situation.
So is there so you help like when I was Girls Wanted, I noticed that you said like you help kids who are falling behind in their studies. So is there a common denominator or a common factor that you notice within like the kids that you help?
Again, we help a lot of kids, but the kids that I probably have the biggest heart for are the ones that are falling behind in their studies or don't have the opportunity. And I think the common denominator is oftentimes that they come from neighborhoods where they aren't given the highest expectation of excellence. And so there was a quote when I was at the White House that said, "Our children suffer from the soft bigotry of low expectation." And what I really want for you all to have, and for all the kids that I come in contact with, is to have high expectations for your life and have high expectations for what you can do in school, what you can do athletically, what you can do socially, what you can do from a leadership perspective, and understand, because sometimes people try and pigeonhole you. They say, well, you know, if you're a good athlete, then you can't be a good student. And if you're a good student, then you can't be a good athlete. And I don't believe that. I believe that you should have high expectation that go beyond what other people expect of you.
It's actually like really good to hear you say that, because sometimes when you're around, well, for me, when I'm around other like kids and like my age and my class and stuff, and I tell them like all the big things that I want to do and all the things that I have like planned for my future, sometimes it's like they don't really know what they want to do with their lives, because it's like they're not, when I want to work in like Forex, and I want to be an anesthesiologist. So like most of the times they don't even know what I'm talking about. So I feel like if we have more people like you out in our communities, like teaching kids that they need to have high expectations for their future, that I feel like the future is going to just get brighter and brighter.
That's right. No, I think that's right. And I'm glad that you want to be an anesthesiologist, and you should go for that. And understand, you might change your mind one day, but if you go towards, you know, a high goal and you change your mind, you're still in a place that's pretty high. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about is like Miss Nikki talked about earlier, we're reading your book, Heroes Wanted.
All right.
And the like the main focus on the book is having a good heart and like growing love that's inside of your heart and soul and extending it out to other people.
That's right.
So what made you want to write a book about kindness and really like pretty much love?
You know, the reason why I wrote this book is probably twofold. One, I really do believe that our society sometimes tells us that leadership and strength is found in talking bad about other people, bringing people down, being combative, creating this system of us versus them. I think you probably see that a lot on social media. You see that a lot in politics. You see that a lot on the news. And that's not leadership. And I want people to understand that really leadership is about taking care of people. Leadership is about loving people and caring for people. And that's important. And the reason why I know that, the second reason why I wrote the book is because in my own life, I've experienced that. So the leaders or the teachers or the coaches that have made me feel the best were ones that invested in me and that were good to me. And the ones that I thought, you know, weren't great leaders were the ones who didn't make me feel good. And I had a first grade teacher, as you probably read, who helped me when I had a difficult time reading. And she invested in me when other people didn't see potential in me. And I wouldn't have been able to do the things that I now am doing if it weren't for her saying, I see potential in him and I believe I can help it. And she did help me. And so I think all of you all have that obligation to help somebody else. And even though you're 12, 13, 14 years old, you all can help somebody. You can help your brothers, your sisters, your mother, your father. You can help each other. You can help someone in school. Someone may be down. Someone may be having a hard time. And you can just offer an encouraging word. You can be a friend. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does answer my question. And I kind of want to like touch on what you said about like leadership, especially because in school and in other places, leaders like for I think like young people, middle school age kids, leaders for them, I don't think they really are seeing teachers as leaders as much now. They're seeing the kids who are popular, who are, you know, in somebody's face doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They see them as leaders.
That's right.
So I feel like there needs to be like a shift and a change in what we really see as leaders and who we choose to follow. Well, not necessarily follow, but who we choose to have as our leaders.
That's right. Who we choose to uplift, who we choose to revere, and to really hold in high esteem and respect, who we choose to respect. Brooke, what school do you go to?
I go to Kipways.
Kipways. Good. Well, they're doing a great job of teaching you, and you are learning a lot, and it's apparent. And you're right. We don't, and we never have, quite frankly, in this country, respected teachers the way we should. And if you think about it, the one profession that touches everybody is a teacher. You know, whether you're president of the United States, whether you're CEO of a company, whether you are, you know, whatever, everybody had to go to school and everybody had a teacher. And everybody was touched and invested in by a teacher. And so sometimes we forget that because teachers may not make as much money or they may not be as visible. But we've got to turn it on its head so our society works better. And we have got to take care of those people who are essential. You know, we talk a lot about essential workers right now during this COVID, and we get a chance to see who are the people who we really rely upon, who we can't operate our society without. and we need to respect them a little bit more than we do.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Move on from this topic and talk about you work for Chick Fil A, or you're a part of the Chick Fil A team.
Yep.
And in the book, I was assigned chapters 3 and 4, and I think it was chapter 3 that you talked about how you were your friend introduced you to the CEO of Chick Fil A. So I want to know, how did your friendship, or just how did you two meeting change into you working alongside him or with him to be a director of to you becoming the director of the Chick Fil A Foundation, and doing like so much other things?
Yeah. I love that question. So I was a lawyer and I was practicing law, and a friend of mine introduced me to the CEO of Chick Fil A, and his name is Al Mead. And the reason why I think that's so important is because your friendships, your relationships are really, really the key to your success. Your network is the key to your success. Letting people know what you're interested in doing and having people come alongside you and help you is so much more powerful than trying to do it by yourself. And I think programs like this, sometimes we forget that, you know, Brooke, you should know Isaiah, and Isaiah, you should know Chloe. And all of you all can have a relationship that lasts for years. And one day, you know, Brooke's going to be the CEO, or she's going to be an anesthesiologist somewhere. And she's going to have gone to medical school. And Isaiah, you may have a son or a daughter who wants to go to that medical school. You're going to pick up the phone and you're going to say, hey, Brooke, I got a son who wants to go to medical school. Can you help them? And so this network that you are building right now, be mindful of that. Think about it. It's not anything that's trivial. It's just friendships. So you don't have to do anything special other than be a friend, be a good person, and keep in touch with one another. And so Al Mead introduced me to Dan Cathy. And then I had enough confidence to say, you know what, Dan, I love the law. I like what I'm doing. I'm happy to come to Chick Fil A, but I really want to start the Chick Fil A Foundation. And so be entrepreneurial in your thinking, and think big, and be bold in what you do and what you say.
So that's actually like crazy how you touched on one of our pillars, and that's communication and networking yourself. So that's like one of the reasons what, like, the beauty that's in this club, because we get to learn so many things that so many like adults, people in their 30s, 40s, they wish that they would have learned sooner.
That's right.
So I'm going to move on to my last question before I hand it over to Isaiah so he can ask questions. And that's that in this book, when I was reading, I noticed that you used a lot of, what's it called? Like God, like you touched on God a lot, and how like God had nothing but love for people, and how we should I read about compassion. Yes. And let me see if I can find that quote really quickly from my chapter. Compassion means to suffer together. When you and I walk the way of a hero, our openness to suffer together becomes our opportunity to be victorious together. Yeah. So what does that mean to you, and like why did you choose about compassion specifically?
You know, I think compassion is one of the most important qualities of being a good person and a good leader. Compassion allows you to have empathy for someone else. And when I say that we suffer together, you know, if Isaiah's going through something and I've been through it before, or I can at least understand it, then I can have compassion, I can have empathy and sympathy in some cases for him, and I can help him, and I'll treat him differently. I'll take care of him differently. I will console him differently. But if I don't have compassion, I'm gonna be like, well, why is he acting that way? I don't get that. And you know, I will minimize what he's going through. And that's not a good leadership quality. And your people that you lead and the organizations that you one day will lead will appreciate when you have compassion, understanding for them. Just as you appreciate if your teacher, if your parents have compassion for you, or Miss Nikki has compassion for you, you appreciate that. So I think it's an important quality. So thank you for bringing it up, bro.
Yeah. I want to speak on like compassion a little bit, and also compare it to like right now, right now and today. So right now there's a lot of rioting, protesting, because like the Black community, we're fed up with all of these police brutality cases, and like some people through social media and things, they're trying to minimize it or make excuses for those who have done wrong, and try to turn a wrong into a right. And like I feel like compassion is like something that these people or like everybody needs to have right now for each other, because this is a rough patch for all of us, not just one of us, two of us, three of us, it's everybody. So I think like compassion is extremely, extremely important. So now
Well said.
pass it on to Isaiah so he can ask a couple of his questions.
That was well said, Brooke. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. So,
Good afternoon.
my first question is, so on the back of the book, it says you're in charge of community affairs. So I was wondering if they were talking about, well, you were talking about like nonprofits such as food deserts and things of that sort.
Yeah, so my title has probably changed and continues to change. So first I was in charge of the foundation, and then I was in charge of the foundation plus community affairs. And now I'm in charge of corporate social responsibility, which includes environmental sustainability, so taking care of the environment, and community affairs, and the foundation. And yes, we are concerned about food deserts. And so if I think about a neighborhood like Vine City or English Avenue, we put a Chick Fil A on MLK in Vine City because there wasn't a Chick Fil A there. And there was, now is a Walmart, but before that, there wasn't much there. There was a Publix that left, and you don't have as many opportunities for food there as you could. And even so, if I live in English Avenue, I don't have a grocery store. If I live in Washington Park, I'm not far from the Walmart, but I'm not walking distance either. And so, you know, there are places that are food deserts and that we have to be mindful of. And we have to help people get fresh food, healthy food, so that we can learn to eat healthy and be healthy. That makes sense?
Are the Chick-fil-A surrounding that area, where the area that you conduct, are they putting in money so you can output food into the community and output money and then bringing it back and it circle around?
So I think the circle that we really try and strive for is to give people jobs. And so the Chick-fil-A that operates in Vine City on MLK it employs over 80 people at any given time, 80 to 90 people. And so we want to give people jobs so that they can go back and take care of their families. and they can go buy nice things for their families. And if you do that, that's really injecting into the economy dollars that start to work for everybody. Because if you have a job and you go buy something from Brooke, then Brooke has more money, and Brooke can go buy something from Naya, and just the circle of the economy begins to move in that way.
So I know you done been in a lot of many different career facilities, but besides the one listed on the book, are there any more that not listed on the book?
So what other careers have I been in?
Right.
I was a federal prosecutor. Any of you all, I know you all would never watch Power. So good.
No, I don't like this show.
You didn't like it?
No.
Good. Well, there are shows. How many of you all have watched Power? Is a little bit too old for y'all. So I'm glad you didn't watch it. How many of you all watch shows where there are lawyers on TV and somebody's being prosecuted?
Talking about Judge Judy?
No, not Judge Judy. Not quite Judge Judy.
Law and Order.
Law and Order. There you go, Brooke.
Yeah.
Law and Order.
I just said that too.
Yep, Isaiah, you got it. And so I was like one of the attorneys on Law and Order. And that's one of the professions that I got a chance to do. I also worked at the Pentagon, so I wore a uniform and I was in the Air Force. And my friends flew planes, kind of like Top Gun or something like that. That's an old movie, so you may not know about that. But I also worked at NASA. And so some of the movies that you see about space, when I was there, we were just going back to Mars and getting the mission to Mars right. Now there are several rovers on the surface of Mars, exploring Mars, taking samples, and learning about Mars.
This is about before you got into all the careers that you had. So my third question is, where did you think you would land before you were introduced to all these different careers?
I always thought that I would be a lawyer. And the reason why is because in 8th grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Bennett, and Mrs. Bennett introduced me to a mock trial. And she gave me an opportunity in class to argue and to object, and I just fell in love with it. And I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I chose a college that had a pre-law program. I also played football. I was really good in football as well, Isaiah. And I wanted to go to a school that had a good football team where I could play. And so I chose a school that had a pre-law program and a really good football program. And I then left there after graduation, and I went to Duke for law school. So I achieved my goals, but I always thought that and knew that I wanted to be a lawyer.
Is leading based off what you just said, it's about scholarships. So can you speak to us about scholarships?
You know, there are typically two different types of scholarships. There is a talent-based scholarship, and there is an academic talent-based scholarship. And the talent-based scholarships that I got were around football, for my talent on the football field. But some went to school because they were good at playing the clarinet, or they were good at playing another sport, baseball, basketball, or they had another talent that the school wanted. And I was always mindful that I wanted to be good in school, and I wanted to be good on the athletic fields as well. I remember I had a coach who told us that he wanted us to be solid C students. And my father, who played for the Denver Broncos years ago, he looked at me, he said, "No, Rodney, you're gonna be a solid A student, or else you won't play football." And I always remembered the importance of that I wanted to be able to get a scholarship either academically or athletically, either way. I was going to go to college. And so I'd really encourage you to do well in school and to look for scholarships, because look, the athletic scholarship for me, I blew out my knee. My last game in high school, I blew out my knee. I lost some scholarships there. And then again in college, I blew out my knee again. And if it were not for my academic education and prowess, I might not have had a scholarship. So I think it's important that you always do your best however you can.
I like to call myself a king of all trades because I can do many different sports, but at the same time, like if you put me in front of a table with top academic students, I will be able to compete and beat people like that. So I'm really not stunned. Bill, fool, none of that. So I just wanted to talk about that. So
that's good, man. I think that's important. And I think you should have confidence in that.
Yeah. So number 5 is the book. I know ain't nobody on earth wrote a book once and it was published. So how many times did it take for you to publish the book?
Well, I was blessed. I did write the book and it was published the first time. But let me tell you why. The reason why is going back to what I talked to Brooke about. I just started to tell people what I wanted to do. And when I told my friends what I wanted to do, a friend of mine who really wasn't, a close friend of mine, but somebody I knew, he said, hey, you know what? I published a book. And he said, can I make an introduction to my publisher? And so because I had friends and I told them what I wanted to do, then he helped me. And I think that's so important. When I wanted to go to law school, I told everybody I want to go to law school. And people would come out and say, you know what, let me help you. And I think they don't know that they can help you or that they should help you if you don't tell them what you're trying to do. Like I love that Brooke said she wanted to be an anesthesiologist. Well, now, you know what? I could potentially help Brooke with that. You could introduce her, Isaiah, or someone else on this call could introduce her or do something because they know. And Isaiah, you said you like sports, and now I know you like sports, so I can connect with you in that way. So the same thing with the book. I just told people that I was interested in writing a book, that I was writing a book, and someone helped me in that way.
So with that being said, so it's all about having connections and being networked to people. So I'm up here gathering networks because I already know I'm gonna get to my bag as fast as possible. I'm trying to start off now. So in college, even I'm not gonna be a dropout of college. I'm going to get my doctorate. But by the time I have my doctorate, I'll be on my way to being a millionaire. So I'm really not. So everything I do is for a purpose. So when I go to school, I have a purpose, and that purpose is to already be on my way. By 22, I want to already have my 3 nonprofits started and be investing into big businesses that's worth thousands of investment dollars. And in several years, I get thousands back, probably 10 times more than I invested. So I have my 7 figures by the time I turn 23. I know that, but at the same time, I'm going to keep going. And I'm output into my community. Then I'm going to get it back just because I output it. And I'm giving back to where I came from.
Yeah. So Isaiah, I think that is wonderful and commendable. What I would say is, I think right now you need to be involved in programs around business and that teach you business or that you can learn about business. And there are lots of programs that teach young people your age business. There's a great, it'll come to me in a second. There's some great programs out there. I'll send some of those to Miss Nikki so that you all can get involved and you can get involved in them. Junior Achievement is one of them. We support Junior Achievement, and we support a program called 3DE Education. And so you can do a lot there. And I would suggest that you look at that program. There are programs where you can get have internships in business, and you need to find a business mentor and someone who can help you with business and teach you about business and that you can learn from. And you need to go out and volunteer for free to work for somebody right now and learn from them, learn how they do business, learn why they're successful. And I'll say this, man, because I was kind of like you. I said I want to do X, Y, and Z by X age. I wouldn't necessarily say by X age, because sometimes that changes. You might not get it, but that doesn't mean that you stop. Doesn't mean that you don't try and do it. I said I wanted to go to Harvard Law School. I ended up going to Harvard Business School, and it was just as good. In fact, it was better. But I think having those goals pushes you further and pushes you where you want to go. So just by running after those goals, it helps you. But I do want you to look at that, a business program. Find a business mentorship program that you can get into and learn about business so that you can make that money. But I love what you said. You want to give back, because there's no real reason to make money if you're not giving back. Just to have money, money isn't going to make you any happier now than you just because you got money. It'll make you comfortable, and it'll make you not have to worry about things, and that is good. But at the end of the day, the higher calling of money is, how do I help other people?
Right. So I believe in generational wealth. That's why right now I'm trying to get what I'm trying to get, because I don't see the thing about it. When I have kids, I want my kids to work for what they got, and not people just saying they was born into money, because I know it's because of my struggle, my work, and all that. But I'm not just gonna give my kids anything and make them work for it just how anybody else did. So I believe in generational wealth. So therefore, once I build up something for me, I want my family members, my brothers, my sisters, my brother, my sisters, my nephews, nieces, all that, to be able to build upon what I got, and then we start spreading stuff throughout the countries. We can take stuff to other continents, stuff like that.
I love it. I love it. I think that's excellent, my friend.
Is there any advice that you would give to your younger self, preferably like younger self that you talked about in the book, where before your dad gave you the motivation to like continue working with football, and when you were just on the sidelines and you were like, I'm thinking of giving up? Do you have any advice for that younger self?
One, be patient. That you can do everything you want to do, but you don't have to try and do it all at the same time. And two, I would tell my younger self that be confident and know that God is with you, and that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't. And if you are diligent and that you learn and you work hard, you can do anything that you want to do. And a lot of people say that and it sounds trite, but it really is true. And the third thing is, I would tell my younger self, is that it's all going to work out. And there isn't a timetable for everything to work out, but it will work out. And it's appointed time when it's supposed to work out.
That's amazing. Okay. Some pointers about what we talked about. So Brooke asked you a couple of questions on your book and about like who gave you the inspiration for your book and all the chapters and how God was with you in your life. She also talked about your journey, and you talked about your journey a couple minutes before we did our interview. And honestly, I think your journey is inspiring before you started with your book. And it's great to know that somebody came from like here and they made it out, and it's honestly just a great story.
Thank you.
And then of course, you know, Chick Fil A, one of everybody's favorite places to go. It's great that you work there. It's honestly like you work for a company like that, and the food is amazing. I love that place. I go there a lot. So, yeah. So now we're gonna go on to well wishes, and then we're gonna end off today's episode.
Right, so my well wishes, I'm gonna have to like go on pause for a second so I can read it. My well wish is to the area and like my community basically, because there has been an alarming rise in violent crime in Atlanta over the past month. Atlanta police say murders are up 86% over 28 days last month compared to the same time last year. There's also a 22% rise in aggravated assaults and a 14% increase in burglaries. So I want to send a well wish to the entire community, and I want everyone to stay safe. And also I want to send a well wish to the family of Breonna Taylor, and like I want to like send prayers to them because hopefully their justice is going to be served very soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wishes to America in general, because right now America is going through a lot, and it just need to calm down. Simply that.
Okay. All right.
My well wish is to the first responders and honestly everybody who's doing the protesting, if it's still going on. I haven't really been hearing it a lot, but everybody who's probably on the front lines for protesting and just everybody in general.
Okay. Thank you. Lanaya and Matt.
Yes, my well wishes are to all of you all. And to Ms. Nikki, thank you for your leadership. So a great big well wish to you. And really my well wishes are that you all will grow up to be amazing leaders, to be very successful, and to be very happy.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for watching Business Minds Kids, where we train the kings and queens of the future.